The Huntsman, Winter's War is a 2016 American fantasy action-adventure romance film. Billed as both a prequel and sequel to Snow White and the Huntsman, 2012, it marks the directorial debut of Cedric Nicolas Troyan. It takes place before and after the events of the first film. The screenplay was written by Craig Mazin and Evan Spiliotopoulos and is based on characters created by Evan Doherty. Chris Hemsworth, Charlize Theron, Nick Frost, and Sam Claflin reprised their roles from the first film, with Emily Blunt, Jessica Chastain, and Rob Brydon joining. The Huntsman, Winter's War premiered in Hamburg in March 2016, and was released in the United States on April 22, 2016, by Universal Pictures to negative reviews from critics. Praise was directed at the visuals and cast, but many felt the film was unnecessary. It grossed $165 million worldwide against a $115 million production budget, becoming a box office bomb. Plot: after Queen Ravenna's magic mirror reveals that her sister, Princess Freya, is pregnant by her lover Andrew, tragedy strikes when Andrew kills their newborn daughter. In grief and rage, Freya's latent cryokinetic powers emerge, and she kills Andrew before fleeing to the northern mountains. There, she becomes the Snow Queen, ruling with fear and raising kidnapped children as an army of huntsmen, forbidding them from ever falling in love. Among them, Eric and Sarah defy her rules and fall in love, planning to escape together. However, Freya discovers them and tricks them with illusions, making Sarah believe Eric abandoned her and Eric believes Sarah was killed. Years later, after Ravenna's defeat, Queen Snow White falls ill due to the mirror's dark magic. Fearing its power, she orders it taken to sanctuary, but it is lost en route. Eric, joined by dwarves Nian and Gryff, sets out to recover it. Along the way, he is reunited with Sarah, who survived but resents him for supposedly leaving her. They eventually uncover Freya's deception and rekindle their bond. The group retrieves the mirror from goblins but is ambushed by Freya. Sarah appears to betray Eric, but her attack only fakes his death. Freya takes the mirror and unknowingly resurrects Ravenna, whose spirit had fused with it. The two sisters plot to rule together, but Freya soon learns Ravenna orchestrated her daughter's death. Enraged, she turns against Ravenna but is mortally wounded. With her last strength, she helps Eric destroy the mirror, killing Ravenna once and for all. As Freya dies, she sees a vision of her daughter and finds peace. With her rule broken, her huntsmen are freed, and Eric and Sarah finally have a future together. In a post-credits scene, Snow White is seen on her balcony as a golden crow lands beside her. Cast: Chris Hemsworth as Eric, an exceptional warrior and Freya's former huntsman. Conrad Kahn as young Eric. Charlize Theron as Queen Ravenna, Snow White's evil stepmother. Emily Blunt as Queen Freya, Ravenna's younger sister. Jessica Chastain as Sarah, Eric's wife who was thought to be dead by and through Freya's deceiving powers. Nehemiah Walter as young Sarah. Nick Frost as Nian, a dwarf who previously helped Eric and Snow White defeat Ravenna's army. Sam Claflin as King William, the King of Tabor and Snow White's husband who helped her and Eric defeat Ravenna's army. Rob Brydon as Gryff, a debt-collecting dwarf who is Nian's older half-brother. Sheridan Smith as Bromwine, a feisty and greedy dwarf who becomes allies with Nian and Gryff. Alexandra Roach as Dorina, a female dwarf and Nian's love interest. Soap Dirisu as Tull, a fellow warrior raised by Freya. Sophie Cookson as Pippa, a fellow warrior raised by Freya. Amelia Crouch as young Pippa. Sam Hazeldine as LaFair, a fellow warrior raised by Freya. Colin Morgan as Andrew, Freya's lover. Robert Portal as the unnamed king and husband of Ravenna and the ruler of an unnamed kingdom. Fred Tatasciore as Mirror Man, voice the physical form of the magic mirror. Madeline Worrell as Eric's mother. Liam Neeson as narrator. Kristen Stewart as Snow White, the Queen of Tabor, William's wife, and Ravenna's stepdaughter, uncredited, archive footage. Ruby and Scarlet kick as Freya's baby daughter, uncredited. Production. Development. A sequel to Snow White and the Huntsman was initially planned with director Rupert Sanders in talks to return. The sequel plans were changed in August 2012 to a spin-off film concentrating on the Huntsman instead. Universal announced a few days later that they were not shelving the sequel. Another report stated that Universal authorized a sequel 7 with Stewart set to reprise her role, but without Sanders to return as the director. A script was written and production was set to begin at some point in 2013. 7 with the film to be released in 2015. On June 4, 2014, Deadline reported that Frank Darabont, Gavin O'Connor, and Andres Muschietti were on the short list to direct a sequel. On June 26, 2014, Deadline confirmed that Darabont was in talks to direct the sequel. In 2014 it was announced that the film would be a prequel titled Huntsman and would not star Stewart as Snow White. 2 years later, Stewart said that she voluntarily turned down an offer from the studio to provide a cameo in the film. On January 16, 2015, it was announced that Darabont had exited the film after he parted with Universal. Hemsworth and Theron were set to return for the film, while Emily Blunt was being circled for a new role. In 2015 it was confirmed that VFX specialist Cedric Nicolas Troyan was set to direct the film, whose last draft was written by Darabont, following drafts by Craig Mazin and Evan Spiliotopoulos. 16. Casting. The refectory at Waverley Abbey with fake vines and rubble added for use as a film set for The Huntsman, Winter's War. In 2015 Jessica Chastain was set to star in the film. Nick Frost was confirmed to reprise his previous role, while Blunt, who had been rumored to be interested, finally closed a deal to star as well. 17 On March 18, 2015, it was revealed that Sheridan Smith, Rob Brydon, and Alexandra Roach were added to the cast to play dwarves alongside Frost's character Nian. 18 The Wrap confirmed on May 7, 2015, that Sam Claflin would return as William in the sequel. 19. Filming. Principal photography on the film began in April 2015. 20 Filming took place at Waverley Abbey in Surrey, England in April 2015. 21 Filming also occurred from May to July 2015 in Windsor Great Park, England, at locations including South Forest, Johnson's Pond, and in the Deer Park near Snow Hill. 22 Filming was also done in Wells Bishop's Palace and Wells Cathedral. 22-23 In July 2015, filming also took place at Puzzlewood, in the Forest of Dean. 24. Music. In October 2015, it was officially announced that James Newton Howard would return to score the film, after creating the music for Snow White and the Huntsman. The score album was released on April 22, 2016. 25 Singer Halsey promoted the film by releasing an alternate version of her song Castle, along with a subsequent music video, made for the film. Christopher Hemsworth AM, born August 11, 1983, is an Australian actor. Born and raised in Melbourne, Victoria, and Bowman, Northern Territory, he rose to prominence playing Kim Hyde in the Australian television series Home and Away, 2004 to 2007, before beginning a film career in Hollywood. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Hemsworth starred as Thor in the 2011 film of the same name and reprised the role in several subsequent installments, which established him among the world's highest-paid actors. 2. His other film roles include the action film Star Trek, 2009, Snow White and the Huntsman, 2012, and its sequel The Huntsman, Winter's War, 2016, Red Dawn, 2012, Black Cod, 2015, Men in Black, International, 2019, Extraction, 2020, and its 2023 sequel, the thriller A Perfect Getaway, 2009, and the comedy Ghostbusters, 2016. Hemsworth's most critically acclaimed films include the comedy horror The Cabin in the Woods, 2012, the biographical sports film Rush, 2013, in which he portrayed James Hunt, the action film Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, 2024, which earned him a nomination for the IACTA Award for Best Actor in a Supporting Role, and the animated film Transformers 1, 2024, in which he voiced Optimus Prime. Early life. Christopher Hemsworth III was born on August 11, 1983, 4 in Melbourne, 5 to Leonie, née Van Os, 6 an English teacher, and Craig Hemsworth, a social services counselor. 7-8 He is the second of 3 sons, following Luke, b. 1980, and preceding Liam, b. 1990, both of them are also actors. His maternal grandfather is a Dutch immigrant and his maternal grandmother is of Irish descent. 9 Non-primary source needed on his paternal line. He is of English, Scottish, and German ancestry. 6. He was brought up both in Melbourne and in the outback in Bulman, Northern Territory. He has said, "My earliest memories were on the cattle stations up in the outback, and then we moved back to Melbourne and then back out there and then back again. Certainly most of my childhood was in Melbourne, but probably my most vivid memories were up there in Bulman with crocodiles and buffalo. Very different walks of life." 5. He attended high school at Heathmont College 5 before his family again returned to the Northern Territory, and then moved a few years later to Phillip Island. 10. Career. Early work, 2002 to 2010. Hemsworth started his career by appearing in several television series. In 2002, Hemsworth starred in 3 episodes of fantasy television series Guinevere Jones as King Arthur, as well as making an appearance in soap opera series Neighbours and 1 episode of Martial Law. The following year, he appeared in an episode of The Saddle Club. In 2004, Hemsworth auditioned for the role of Robbie Hunter in Australian soap opera Home and Away. He did not receive the part, but was subsequently recalled for the part of Kim Hyde. He moved to Sydney to join the cast, appearing in 171 episodes of the series. 11 He left the cast of Home and Away on July 3, 2007. Hemsworth later remarked that although he became more visible after Home and Away, his work on a soap opera did not earn him respect within the film industry. 12. Hemsworth was a contestant on the 5th season of Dancing with the Stars Australia, partnered with professional dancer Abby Ross. The season premiered on September 26, 2006, and after 6 weeks, Hemsworth was eliminated on November 7. Hemsworth's appearance in the franchise almost cost him the role of Thor, as producers of the Marvel film franchise feared fans would be put off. 13. In 2009, Hemsworth played James T. Kirk's father, George Kirk, in the opening scenes of J.J. Abrams' film Star Trek. The role was initially offered to Matt Damon, who turned it down. Abrams appreciated Hemsworth taking on the role. 14. Josh Tyler of Cinema Blend was impressed with Hemsworth, describing the actor's scene as the best 5 minutes I've spent in a movie theater this year. 15. The film was a box office success, grossing $385.7 million. 16. That same year, Hemsworth played the character Cale Garrity in the thriller A Perfect Getaway. It received mixed reviews. 17-18 But Hemsworth was praised for his appropriately intimidating performance of a thuggish backpacker. 19. Paul Young of Screen Rant also praised Hemsworth's performance as solid. 20. Hemsworth went on to play Sam in 2010's Cash alongside English actor Sean Bean, which was the first film he shot when he arrived in the United States. The film's director, Stephen Milburn Anderson, said Hemsworth had only been in the United States for 6 weeks when he had auditioned for the role, recalling, "Here's a guy who is young, has the right look, is a very good actor and, let's face it, he's beautiful. So I say, we need to get this guy in." I was very impressed. 21 In November 2010, The Hollywood Reporter named Hemsworth one of the young male actors who are pushing, or being pushed onto the Hollywood A-list. 22. Thor and worldwide recognition, 2011 to 2015. In 2011, Sony Pictures announced that Hemsworth would star in the thriller Shadow Runner 23, but the film was never made. That same year, Hemsworth was cast as the superhero Thor in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. His first film in the franchise was 2011's Thor. He and castmate Tom Hiddleston, who ultimately played Loki, had each auditioned for the role, for which Hemsworth said he gained 20 pounds of muscle. 24. With a worldwide gross of $449 million 25, Thor was the 15th highest grossing film of 2011. 26. The film received positive reviews. 27. And Hemsworth's portrayal of the God of Thunder was praised by Kenneth Turan of the Los Angeles Times. 28. Hemsworth reprised the role the following year for the film The Avengers, 2012, as one of the 6 superheroes alongside Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark/Iron Man, Chris Evans' Steve Rogers/Captain America, Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner/Hulk, Scarlett Johansson's Natasha Romanova's/Black Widow, and Jeremy Renner's Clint Barton/Hawkeye, sent to defend Earth from his adopted brother, Loki. 29. The film was a critical 30 and commercial success, grossing over $1.5 billion worldwide. 31. The ensemble cast was praised for their on-screen chemistry by Peter Travers of Rolling Stone. 32. Hemsworth shot the horror film The Cabin in the Woods shortly after the release of Star Trek, but it went unreleased until 2012. It garnered positive reviews. 33. And his portrayal of alpha male jock Kurt Vaughn was described by Allison Foreman of Mashable as his sexiest role yet. 34. Hemsworth later starred opposite Kristen Stewart in the film Snow White and the Huntsman, 2012, as the Huntsman. Although a commercial success, grossing $396 million worldwide. 35. It received mixed reviews. 36. Critics were critical of Hemsworth and Stewart's on-screen chemistry, and Angela Watercutter of Wired felt the characters were not fully fleshed out. 37. Hemsworth was cast as Jed Eckert in the 2012 Red Dawn remake after MGM saw Daly's footage of a scene from The Cabin in the Woods. 38. He was cast as Thor 2 days after being cast in Red Dawn. 38. The film was a box office bomb, grossing only $50 million against a production budget of $65 million. 39. And received negative reviews. 40. Hemsworth in 2013. In 2013, Hemsworth starred in Ron Howard's sports drama film Rush, as 1976 Formula One world champion James Hunt. 41. Henry Barnes of The Guardian was impressed with Hemsworth's performance, praising the actor for delivering the superb script with some mastery. 42. Later that year, Hemsworth reprised the role of Thor for the sequel to Thor in Thor: The Dark World, 2013. 43. Although a commercial success with a worldwide gross of $644 million. 44. The film became the lowest rated film in the MCU franchise on the review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes at 66% approval rating. 45. The chemistry between Hemsworth and Hiddleston was praised by critics. Ben Child of The Guardian wrote, "Thanks to Hiddleston and Hemsworth's impressive collective charisma, Thor: The Dark World is far from a franchise killer." 46. In 2015, Hemsworth starred in director Michael Mann's action thriller Black Cot, opposite Viola Davis. 47. The film bombed at the box office. 48. And was poorly received. 49. For many critics, a significant issue of the film was the casting of Hemsworth as a hacker. 50. Christy Lemire of the Chicago Sun-Times remarked, "Anyone who makes their way in the world sitting in front of a computer screen all day is not going to look as hunky as Hemsworth." 51. Hemsworth himself later admitted to being displeased with his performance. "I didn't enjoy what I did in the film," he commented. "It just felt flat, and it was also an attempt to do what I thought people might have wanted to see. But I don't think I'm good in that space." 52. He reprised his role as Thor for the fourth time in the sequel to The Avengers, Age of Ultron. 53. In addition to the film receiving positive reviews 54 and grossing over $1.4 billion worldwide 55. Hemsworth also won the People's Choice Awards for Favorite Action Movie Actor. 56. Hemsworth returned to the set of Home and Away in November 2014 to film a scene as an extra and not as his character Kim Hyde. 57. 58. The episode which he appeared in was broadcast on May 19, 2015. 58. That same year, he co-starred in the comedy film Vacation, along with Ed Helms, a revival of the film series that originally starred Chevy Chase. 59. He was nominated for the MTV Movie Awards for Best Kiss with Leslie Mann. 60. His last 2015 film was In the Heart of the Sea, based on the book of the same name by Nathaniel Philbrick, with Hemsworth playing first mate Owen Chase. In an interview on Jimmy Kimmel Live, he said that to prepare for the role of starving sailors, the cast was put on a diet of 500 to 600 calories a day to lose weight. 61. In the Heart of the Sea received mixed reviews from critics, and was a box office disappointment, grossing $93 million against a $100 million budget. 62. But Hemsworth received a nomination for Choice Movie Actor, Action at the 18th Teen Choice Awards. 63. Continued commercial success, 2016, present. In 2016, Hemsworth reprised the role of Eric the Huntsman in The Huntsman, Winter's War, alongside Jessica Chastain, who played his love interest. Writing for IndieWire, Oliver Littleton criticized the on-screen chemistry between Hemsworth and Chastain, stating that they're both struggling uphill against accents they're palpably not comfortable with, displaying zero chemistry, and frankly appearing to be in different films. 64. The film underperformed compared to its predecessor, grossing only $165 million. 65. Hemsworth later joined the cast of the reboot Ghostbusters film, playing Kevin the Receptionist. 66. 67. The film disappointed critically and commercially, but Hemsworth was praised for delivering the most fun by Caroline Westbrook of Metro 68 and won the Kids' Choice Awards for Favorite Movie Actor. 69. Hemsworth promoting Thor, Ragnarok at the 2017 San Diego Comic-Con. Hemsworth reprised his role as Thor in Thor, Ragnarok, released on November 3, 2017 in the U.S,70 and again in both the third and fourth Avengers films, Avengers, Infinity War and Avengers, Endgame in 2018 and 2019 respectively. 71. All three films were a critical and commercial success. 72. Matt Zoller Sites of RogerEbert.com likened Hemsworth's acting to Cary Grant, stating that Hemsworth's charisma holds Thor, Ragnarok together whenever it threatens to spin apart. 73. Hemsworth won the Teen Choice Awards for Choice Sci-Fi Movie Actor. 74. Meanwhile, in his review of Avengers, Endgame, Joe Morgenstern of the Wall Street Journal acknowledged Hemsworth's Thor, endearing despite some ragged material and the actor's seemingly limited dramatic range, while praising Hemsworth in the MCU Infinity Saga finale as the graceful, exuberant comic actor he was destined to be, while Thor morphs, alarmingly and charmingly yet still heroically, into a beer-bellied apparition who could pass for Jeff Lebowski. 75. In 2017, Hemsworth was the guest narrator at Disney's Candlelight Processional at Disneyland. 76. Hemsworth was to reprise his role as George Kirk in the fourth film of the rebooted Star Trek film series 77-78, but he left the project in August 2018 after contract negotiations fell through. 79. Hemsworth later said he found the script underwhelming. 80. In 2019, he also starred in a spin-off of the Men in Black series, titled Men in Black, International. 81. The film grossed $253 million worldwide and received generally unfavorable reviews from critics, who criticized the lackluster action and forgettable plot, although the chemistry between Hemsworth and co-star Tessa Thompson was praised. 82. The following year, Hemsworth starred in the Netflix action thriller Extraction, reuniting him with the Russo brothers, who served as producers. 83 After being watched by 90 million households in its initial month of release, the film broke Netflix's viewership record previously held by Bird Box. 84-85 Hemsworth reprised the role of Thor in the fourth film, Thor: Love and Thunder. Filming began in February 2021 in Australia. 86-87 and it was released in 2022. 88. Hemsworth worked on Limitless with Chris Hemsworth in 2022, a 6-part documentary series, for National Geographic. The show paired Hemsworth with noted filmmaker Darren Aronofsky. The show has Hemsworth appearing in a variety of different ways that humans have sought to increase their health. The episodes saw Hemsworth take a plunge in icy Arctic water, fast for long periods of time, and participate in an indigenous Australian ceremony. 89-90 the last of which resulted in some controversy for the show, as indigenous groups claimed that filming at the sacred site was disrespectful to the culture. 91 Hemsworth returned as Tyler Rake in Netflix's Extraction 2, 2023, 92 which earned him $20 million. 93. Hemsworth starred in the Mad Max, Fury Road spin-off Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, released in May 2024. 94 The Washington Post wrote that he had perhaps created one of the all-time great screen villains in his role as the warlord Dementus. 95 Hemsworth voiced a young Optimus Prime in the Transformers prequel film Transformers 1. 96-97 In October 2024, Hemsworth entered talks to play the title character in Paul King's Prince Charming for Disney. 98 Hemsworth featured in A Road Trip to Remember, a 2025 National Geographic documentary about his father's experience with Alzheimer's disease. 99 Hemsworth will once again return as Thor in Avengers: Doomsday, scheduled for release in 2026. 100. Public image. After appearing as Thor in the MCU franchise, Hemsworth's physique gained attention from fans. 101 His exercise routines have been regularly discussed in the media, including the Times of India 102 Men's Health 103 104 Men's XP 105 Entertainment Tonight 106 and Metro 107 He later created the fitness app Sandra, which provides paying customers access to nutrition, wellness, and exercise routines. 108 In 2014, he was named the sexiest man alive by People magazine. 109. Hemsworth is an avid supporter of the Western Bulldogs in the Australian Football League. 110 He was the star of the AFL's 2014 Everything's Possible campaign, donating the fees for his involvement to the Australian Children Foundation. 111 Hemsworth was also the star in the AFL's 2017 I'd Like to See That commercial. 112. Wealth. As his career in Hollywood films has developed, Hemsworth has become one of the world's highest paid actors. 12 He appeared in Forbes' World's Highest Paid Actors list in 2014 113 2015 114 and 2018. 115 Additionally, he ranked 31st in the magazine's list of highest paid celebrities in 2018 116 and 24th in 2019 117 with estimated earnings of $76.4 million. 118. Charity. In May 2020, Chris and his brother Liam were among the celebrities who read an installment of Roald Dahl's children's fantasy novel James and the Giant Peach in aid of the global non-profit charity Partners in Health, co-founded by Dahl's daughter Ophelia, which had been fighting COVID-19 in vulnerable areas. 119. Personal life. Hemsworth began dating Spanish model and actress Elsa Pataky in early 2010, after meeting through their mutual representatives. 120 They married in December 2010. 121 The couple have a daughter, born in May 2012 122 and twin sons, born in March 2014. 123 In 2015, the family moved from Los Angeles to Byron Bay, New South Wales, in his native Australia. 124 Hemsworth speaks limited Spanish, 125 and Indonesian. 126. Hemsworth's children train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu under Charlize Theron, and he has regularly taken them to compete in national tournaments. 127. Hemsworth was appointed a member of the Order of Australia in the 2021 Queen's Birthday Honours. 128. In episode 5 of his National Geographic documentary Limitless, 2022, Hemsworth revealed that his maternal grandfather suffered from Alzheimer's disease. It was also revealed that Hemsworth himself has inherited 2 copies of the APOE4 gene, one from his mother and one from his father, which makes it 8 to 10 times likelier for him to eventually develop Alzheimer's disease than the general population. Conrad Lewis Kahn, born 2000, is an English actor. His performance in the film County Lines, 2019, earned him nominations for Young British/Irish Performer at the London Critics Circle Film Awards, won Most Promising Newcomer at the British Independent Film Awards 2 and the BAFTA Rising Star Award. 3. He was also named a 2020 Screen International Star of Tomorrow. 4. On television, he appeared in the second series of Baptiste, 2021, and played Duke Shelby in the 6th series of Peaky Blinders, 2022. Early life and education. Khan was born in North London to a Pakistani father and German mother. 5. He attended Fleet Primary School in Hampstead. 6. He joined the Arcola Youth Theatre in Dalston. 7. 8. He pursued a film studies degree at Queen Mary, University of London. Charlize Theron, /Arlize Theron/Charlize Theron 1 Afrikaans, Arlize Theron 2 born August 7, 1975, is a South African 3 and American actress and producer. One of the world's highest paid actresses, she is the recipient of various accolades, including an Academy Award and a Golden Globe Award. 4. In 2016, Time named her one of the 100 most influential people in the world. She came to international prominence in the 1990s by playing the leading lady in the Hollywood films The Devil's Advocate, 1997, Mighty Joe Young, 1998, and The Cider House Rules, 1999. She received critical acclaim for her portrayal of serial killer Aileen Wuornos in Monster, 2003, for which she won the Silver Bear and Academy Award for Best Actress, becoming the first South African to win an acting Oscar. She received another Academy Award nomination for playing a sexually abused woman seeking justice in the drama North Country, 2005. She has starred in several commercially successful action films, including The Italian Job, 2003, Hancock, 2008, Prometheus, 2012, Mad Max, Fury Road, 2015, Atomic Blonde, 2017, and The Old Guard, 2020, as well as several Fast and Furious installments, The Fate of the Furious, 2017, F9, 2021, and Fast X, 2023. She received praise for playing troubled women in Jason Reitman's comedy dramas Young Adult, 2011, and Tully, 2018, and for portraying Megyn Kelly in the biographical drama Bombshell, 2019, she received her 3rd Academy Award nomination. Since the early 2000s, she has ventured into film production with her company Denver and Delilah Productions. She has produced numerous films, many in which she had a starring role, including The Burning Plain, 2008, Dark Places, 2015, and Long Shot, 2019. Theron became an American citizen in 2007, while retaining her South African citizenship. Early life. Charlize Theron was born in Benoni, in Transvaal Province, Gauteng Province since 1994, of South Africa on August 7, 1975. 5. She is the only child of road constructionist 6. Gerda, née Maritz, 7, 16-18 and Charlize Theron, November 27, 1947 to June 21, 1991. 7. 16-18, 34 The Second Boer War military leader Daniel Theron was her great-granduncle. 7. 14 She is from an Afrikaner family, and her ancestry includes Dutch as well as French and German. Her French forebears were early Huguenots in South Africa. 7. 14 Although Theron is fluent in English, her first language is Afrikaans. 8-9. She grew up on her parents' farm in Benoni, near Johannesburg. 10-11-12-13 On June 21, 1991, Theron's father, an alcoholic, threatened both Charlize and her mother while drunk, physically attacking her mother and firing a gun at both of them. 14 Theron's mother retrieved her own handgun, shot back and killed him. 14 The shooting was legally adjudged to have been self-defense, and her mother faced no charges. 15-16. Theron attended Pootfontein Primary School, latter school Pootfontein, 11 a period during which she has said she was not fitting in. 17 She was frequently unwell with jaundice throughout childhood and the antibiotics she was administered made her upper incisor milk teeth rot, they had to be surgically removed. Theron's permanent teeth did not grow until she was roughly 10 years old. 18-19 At 13, Theron was sent to boarding school and began her studies at the National School of the Arts in Johannesburg. 10-18 About her early life in her home country, Theron has said, "I grew up as an only child in South Africa, and there was turmoil in my family, but the surroundings were so great. I was usually barefoot in the dirt, no Game Boys, no computers, and we had sanctions, so there were no concerts. This meant you had to entertain yourself." 20. Career. 1991 to 2002, early work and breakthrough. Although she saw herself as a dancer, 21 Theron won a one-year modeling contract at age 16-10 at a local competition in Salerno, Italy 21-22 and moved with her mother to Milan, Italy. 23-24 After Theron spent a year modeling throughout Europe, she and her mother moved to the United States. They resided in New York City and Miami. 24 In New York, she attended the Joffrey Ballet School, where she trained as a ballet dancer until a knee injury closed this career path. 21-25 As Theron recalled in 2008, "I went to New York for 3 days to model, and then I spent a winter in New York in a friend's windowless basement apartment. I was broke, I was taking class at the Joffrey Ballet, and my knees gave out. I realized I couldn't dance anymore, and I went into a major depression. My mom came over from South Africa and said, either you figure out what to do next or you come home, because you can sulk in South Africa." 21. In 1994, 26 Theron flew to Los Angeles on a one-way ticket her mother bought for her. She intended to work in the film industry. 21 During her initial months there, she lived in a motel with the $300 budget that her mother had given her. 6 She continued receiving checks from New York and lived from paycheck to paycheck. 27 Theron stole bread from a basket in a restaurant to survive. 27 6 One day, she went to a Hollywood Boulevard bank to cash a few checks, including one her mother had sent to help with the rent. 25 6 However, the check from her mother was rejected because it was out of state and she was not an American citizen. 6 Theron argued and pleaded with the bank teller until talent agent John Crosby, 25, who was the next customer behind her, cashed it for her and gave her his business card. 10-6. Crosby introduced Theron to an acting school. 28 In 1995, she played her first non-speaking film role in the horror film Children of the Corn 3, Urban Harvest. 10 In Theron's first speaking role, she portrayed Heatwoman Helga Svelgen in 2 Days in the Valley, 1996. Despite the film's mixed reviews, Theron drew attention due to her beauty and to a scene in which she fought Terry Hatcher's character. 6-29-30 Theron feared being typecast as characters similar to Helga and recalled being asked to repeat her performance in the film during auditions. 6 A lot of people were saying, "You should just hit while the iron's hot, but playing the same part over and over doesn't leave you with any longevity. And I knew it was going to be harder for me, because of what I look like, to branch out to different kinds of roles. 29. When auditioning for Showgirls, Theron was introduced to talent agent J.J. Harris by co-casting director Johanna Ray. She recalled being surprised at how much faith Harris had in her potential. Theron has referred to Harris as her mentor. Harris found scripts and films for Theron in a variety of genres and encouraged her to become a producer. She served as Theron's agent for over 15 years. 623. Theron's career expanded by the end of the 1990s. In the horror drama The Devil's Advocate, 1997, which is credited as her breakout film 31, Theron starred alongside Keanu Reeves and Al Pacino as the haunted wife of an unusually successful lawyer. She subsequently starred in the adventure film Mighty Joe Young, 1998, as the friend and protector of a giant mountain gorilla, and in the drama The Cider House Rules, 1999, as a woman who seeks an abortion in World War II-era Maine. 10. While Mighty Joe Young flopped at the box office, 32, The Devil's Advocate and The Cider House Rules were commercially successful. 33-34 She appeared on the cover of the January 1999 issue of Vanity Fair as the White Hot Venus. 35 The May 1999 issue of Playboy magazine also featured Theron on its cover. The photos of Theron used by Playboy had been taken several years earlier when she was an unknown model, and Theron unsuccessfully sued the magazine for publishing them without her consent. 36-37 By the early 2000s, Theron continued to steadily take on roles in films such as Reindeer Games, 2000, The Yards, 2000, The Legend of Bagger Vance, 2000, Men of Honor, 2000, Sweet November, 2001, The Curse of the Jade Scorpion, 2001, and Trapped, 2002, all of which, despite achieving only limited commercial success, helped to establish her as an actress. On this period in her career, Theron remarked, "I kept finding myself in a place where directors would back me but studios didn't. I began a love affair with directors, the ones I really, truly admired. I found myself making really bad movies, too. Reindeer Games was not a good movie, but I did it because I loved director John Frankenheimer." 38. 2003 to 2010, Rise to Prominence. Theron on the cover of Ms. Magazine in 2005. Theron starred as a safe and vault technician in the 2003 heist film The Italian Job, an American remake of the 1969 British film of the same name, directed by F. Gary Gray and opposite Mark Wahlberg, Edward Norton, Jason Statham, Seth Green, and Donald Sutherland. The film was a box office success, grossing $176 million worldwide. 39. In Monster, 2003, Theron portrayed serial killer Aileen Wuornos, a former prostitute who was executed in Florida in 2002 for killing 6 men. She was not tried for a 7th murder. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, 10 film critic Roger Ebert felt that Theron gave one of the greatest performances in the history of the cinema. 40. For her portrayal, she was awarded the Academy Award for Best Actress at the 76th Academy Awards in February 2004. 41 as well as the Screen Actors Guild Award and the Golden Globe Award. 42 She is the first South African to win an Oscar for Best Actress. 43 The Oscar win pushed her to the Hollywood Reporter's 2006 list of highest paid actresses in Hollywood, earning up to $10 million for a film. She ranks 7th. 44 Ask Men named her the #1 most desirable woman of 2003. 45. For her role as Swedish actress and singer Britt Ekland in the 2004 HBO film The Life and Death of Peter Sellers, Theron garnered Golden Globe Award and Primetime Emmy Award nominations. 46 In 2005, she portrayed Rita, the mentally challenged love interest of Michael Bluth, Jason Bateman, on the 3rd season of Fox's television series Arrested Development 47 and starred in the financially unsuccessful science fiction thriller In Flux. For her voice-over work in the Ian Flux video game, she received a Spike Video Game Award for Best Performance by a Human Female. 48-49. Theron attending the premiere of North Country at the 2005 Toronto International Film Festival. In the critically acclaimed drama North Country, 2005, Theron played a single mother and an iron mine worker experiencing sexual harassment. David Rooney of Variety wrote, "The film represents a confident next step for lead Charlize Theron. Though the challenges of following a career-redefining Oscar role have stymied actresses, Theron segues from monster to a performance in many ways more accomplished. The strength of both the performance and character anchor the film firmly in the tradition of other dramas about working-class women leading the fight over industrial workplace issues, such as Norma Rae or Silkwood." 50. Roger Ebert echoed the same sentiment, calling her an actress who has the beauty of a fashion model but has found resources within herself for these powerful roles about unglamorous women in the world of men. 51. For her performance, she received Academy Award and Golden Globe Award nominations for Best Actress. 41-42 Ms. Magazine honored her for this performance with a feature article in its fall 2005 issue. 52 On September 30, 2005, Theron received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. 43. In 2007, Theron played a police detective in the critically acclaimed crime film In the Valley of Illa, and produced and starred as a reckless, slatternly mother in the drama film Sleepwalking, alongside Nick Stahl and Anna Sophia Robb. The Christian Science Monitor praised the latter film, commenting that despite its deficiencies, and the inadequate screen time allotted to Theron, who's quite good, Sleepwalking has a core of feeling. 53 In 2008, Theron starred as a woman who faced a traumatic childhood in the drama The Burning Plain, directed by Guillermo Arriaga and opposite Jennifer Lawrence and Kim Basinger, and played the ex-wife of an alcoholic superhero alongside Will Smith in the superhero film Hancock. The Burning Plain found a limited release in U.S. theaters 54 but grossed $5,267,917 outside the U.S. Hancock made $624.3 million worldwide. 55 Also in 2008, Theron was named the Hasty Pudding Theatricals Woman of the Year. 56 And was asked to be a UN Messenger of Peace by the UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon. 57. Her film releases in 2009 were the post-apocalyptic drama The Road, in which she briefly appears in flashbacks, and the animated film Astro Boy, providing her voice for a character. On December 4, 2009, Theron co-presented the draw for the 2010 FIFA World Cup in Cape Town, South Africa, accompanied by several other celebrities of South African nationality or ancestry. During rehearsals she drew an Ireland ball instead of France as a joke at the expense of FIFA, referring to Thierry Henry's handball controversy in the playoff match between France and Ireland. 58-59 The stunt alarmed FIFA enough for it to fear she might do it again in front of a live global audience. 60. 2011 to 2019, established actress. Following a 2-year hiatus from films, Theron returned to the spotlight in 2011 with the black comedy Young Adult. Directed by Jason Reitman, the film earned critical acclaim, particularly for her performance as a depressed, divorced, alcoholic 37-year-old ghostwriter. Richard Roper awarded the film an A grade, stating Charlize Theron delivers one of the most impressive performances of the year. 61 She was nominated for a Golden Globe Award and several other awards. Roger Ebert called her one of the best actors working today. 62. Theron promoting Prometheus at the 2012 WonderCon. In 2012, Theron took on the role of villain in 2 big-budgeted films. She played evil Queen Ravenna, Snow White's evil stepmother, in Snow White and the Huntsman 63 opposite Kristen Stewart and Chris Hemsworth, and appeared as a crew member with a hidden agenda in Ridley Scott's Prometheus. Mick LaSalle of the San Francisco Chronicle found Snow White and the Huntsman to be a slow, boring film that has no charm and is highlighted only by a handful of special effects and Charlize Theron's truly evil queen, 64. While The Hollywood Reporter writer Todd McCarthy, describing her role in Prometheus, asserted, "Theron is in ice goddess mode here, with the emphasis on ice, but perfect for the role all the same." 65. Both films were major box office hits, grossing around $400 million internationally each. 66-67. The following year, Vulture/New York Mag named her the 68th most valuable star in Hollywood, saying, "We're just happy that Theron can stay on the list in a year when she didn't come out with anything. Any actress who's got that kind of skill, beauty, and ferocity ought to have a permanent place in Hollywood." 68. On May 10, 2014, Theron hosted Saturday Night Live on NBC. 69-70. In 2014, Theron took on the role of the wife of an infamous outlaw in the Western comedy film A Million Ways to Die in the West, directed by Seth MacFarlane, which was met with mediocre reviews and moderate box office returns. 71-72. In 2015, Theron played the sole survivor of the massacre of her family in the film adaptation of the Gillian Flynn novel Dark Places, directed by Jill Packett-Brenner, in which she had a producer credit. 73. And starred as Imperator Furiosa in Mad Max, Fury Road, 2015, opposite Tom Hardy. 74-75. Mad Max received widespread critical acclaim, with praise going towards Theron for the dominant nature taken by her character. 76. The film made $378.4 million worldwide. 77. She next reprised her role as Queen Ravenna in the 2016 film The Huntsman, Winter's War, a sequel to Snow White and the Huntsman. 78. Which was a critical and commercial failure. 79. In 2016, Theron starred as a physician and activist working in West Africa in the little-seen romantic drama The Last Face, with Sean Penn. 80. Provided her voice for the 3D stop-motion fantasy film Kubo and the Two Strings, and produced the independent drama Brain on Fire. That year, Time named her in the Time 100 list of the most influential people in the world. 81. Theron at the 2017 San Diego Comic-Con. In 2017, Theron starred in The Fate of the Furious as the cyber-terrorist Cypher, the main antagonist of the entire franchise, and played a spy on the eve of the collapse of the Berlin Wall in 1989 in Atomic Blonde, an adaptation of the graphic novel The Coldest City, directed by David Leitch. 82. The Fate of the Furious had a worldwide gross of $1.2 billion. 83. And Atomic Blonde was described by Richard Roper of the Chicago Sun-Times as a slick vehicle for the magnetic, badass charms of Charlize Theron, who is now officially an A-list action star on the strength of this film and Mad Max, Fury Road. 84. In the black comedy Tully, 2018, directed by Jason Reitman and written by Diablo Cody, Theron played an overwhelmed mother of three. The film was acclaimed by critics, who concluded it delves into the modern parenthood experience with an admirably deft blend of humor and raw honesty, brought to life by an outstanding performance by Charlize Theron. 85. She played the president of a pharmaceutical corporation in the crime film Gringo and produced the biographical war drama film A Private War, both released in 2018. 86. In 2019, Theron produced and starred in the romantic comedy film Long Shot, opposite Seth Rogen and directed by Jonathan Levine, portraying a U.S. Secretary of State who reconnects with a journalist she used to babysit. 87. The film had its world premiere at South by Southwest in March, and was released on May 3 to positive reviews from film critics. 88. Theron next starred as Megyn Kelly in the drama Bombshell, which she co-produced. Directed by Jay Roach, the film revolves around the sexual harassment allegations made against Fox News CEO Roger Ailes by former female employees. 89. For her work in the film, Theron was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress, 90 Golden Globe Award for Best Actress in a Motion Picture, Drama, 91 Critics' Choice Movie Award for Best Actress, 92 Screen Actors Guild Award for Outstanding Performance by a Female Actor in a Leading Role, 93 and BAFTA Award for Best Actress in a Leading Role. 94 that year, Forbes ranked her as the 9th highest paid actress in the world, with an annual income of $23 million. 4. 2020, present, continued success. In 2020, she produced and starred opposite Kiki Lane in the superhero film The Old Guard, directed by Gina Prince-Bythewood. 95-96 the following year, she reprised her role as Cypher in F9, originally set for release on 22 May 2020, 97 before its delay to June 2021 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. 98. In 2022, Theron appeared in several projects. Upon the film's release in May, it was revealed that Theron would portray the character Clea in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, beginning with her debut in the mid-credits scene of the superhero film Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. 99 She played Lady Lesso in the fantasy Netflix film The School for Good and Evil 100 and filmed a cameo in the third season opener of The Boys as an actress playing Stormfront. 101. In 2023, Theron reprised her role as Cypher in Fast X and executive produced the HBO documentary series Last Call, when a serial killer stalked queer New York about a serial killer preying on gay men. 102 In 2024, she was cast in Christopher Nolan's upcoming epic film The Odyssey, 2026. 103. Influences and process. Theron is inspired by actresses Susan Sarandon and Sigourney Weaver. 6. She has described her admiration for Tom Hanks as a love affair and watched many of his films throughout her youth. 104. 6. Hollywood actors were not featured in magazines in South Africa, so she did not know how famous he was until she moved to the United States. 6. Which has been inferred as a factor of her down-to-earth attitude to fame. 105. After filming for That Thing You Do finished, Theron got Hanks' autograph on her script. 106. She later presented him his Cecil B. DeMille Award in 2020, in which Hanks revealed that he had a mutual admiration for Theron's career since the day he met her. 107. 108. In 2019, Theron spoke about her method of working on roles. Creating a physical identity together with the emotional part of the character, she said, is a great tool set that adds on to everything else you were already doing as an actor. It's a case-by-case thing, but there is, to me, this beautiful thing that happens when you can get both sides, the exterior and interior. It's a really powerful dynamic. When preparing for a role, I almost treat it like studying. I will find space where I am alone, where I can be focused, where there's nobody in my house, and I can really just sit down and study and play and look at my face and hear my voice and walk around and be a fucking idiot, and my dogs are the only ones who are seeing that. 109. Other ventures. This article contains promotional content. Please help improve it by removing promotional language and inappropriate external links, and by adding encyclopedic text written from a neutral point of view. December 2023, learn how and when to remove this message. Activism. Theron speaking at a meeting of the World Economic Forum in 2013. The Charlize Theron Africa Outreach Project, TAOP, was created in 2007 by Theron, in an effort to support African youth in the fight against HIV/AIDS. By November 2017, TAOP had raised more than $6.3 million to support African organizations working on the ground. 110. In 2008, Theron was named a United Nations Messenger of Peace. 111. 112. In his citation, Ban Ki-moon said of Theron, "You have consistently dedicated yourself to improving the lives of women and children in South Africa, and to preventing and stopping violence against women and girls." 113. She recorded a public service announcement in 2014 as part of the UN Stop Rape Now program. 114. In December 2009, TAOP and Tom's Shoes partnered to create a limited edition unisex shoe. The shoe was made from vegan materials and inspired by the African baobab tree, the silhouette of which was embroidered on blue and orange canvas. 10,000 pairs were given to destitute children, and a portion of the proceeds went to TIOP. 115. In 2020, TIOP partnered with parfums Christian Dior to create Dior Stands with Women, an initiative that includes Cara Delevingne, Yalitza Aparicio, Paloma El Cesar, and others, to encourage women to be assertive by documenting their journey, challenges and accomplishments. 116. Theron is involved in women's rights organizations and has marched in pro-choice rallies. 117. Theron is a supporter of same-sex marriage and attended a march and rally to support that in Fresno, California, on May 30, 2009. 118. She publicly stated that she refused to get married until same-sex marriage became legal in the United States, saying, "I don't want to get married because right now the institution of marriage feels very one-sided, and I want to live in a country where we all have equal rights. I think it would be exactly the same if we were married, but for me to go through that kind of ceremony, because I have so many friends who are gays and lesbians who would so badly want to get married, that I wouldn't be able to sleep with myself." 119. Theron further elaborated on her stance in a June 2011 interview on Piers Morgan Tonight. She stated, "I do have a problem with the fact that our government hasn't stepped up enough to make this federal, to make gay marriage legal. I think everybody has that right." 120. In March 2014, TIOP was among the charities that benefited from the annual Fame and Philanthropy fundraising event on the night of the 86th Academy Awards. Theron was an honored guest along with Halle Berry and keynote speaker James Cameron. 121. In 2015, Theron signed an open letter which one campaign had been collecting signatures for. The letter was addressed to Angela Merkel and Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, urging them to focus on women as they serve as the head of the G7 in Germany and the O in South Africa respectively, which will start to set the priorities in development funding before a main UN summit in September 2015 that will establish new development goals for the generation. 122. In August 2017, she visited South Africa with Trevor Noah and made a donation to the South African charity Life Choices. 123. In 2018, she gave a speech about AIDS prevention at the 22nd International AIDS Conference in Amsterdam, organized by the International AIDS Society. 124. On June 22, 2022, it was announced that Theron and Cheryl Lee Ralph would receive the Elizabeth Taylor Commitment to End AIDS Award for their commitment to raising awareness of HIV at the Elizabeth Taylor Ball to End AIDS fundraising gala. 125. Endorsements. Having signed a deal with John Galliano in 2004, Theron replaced Estonian model Taija Cook as the spokeswoman in the J'adore advertisements by Christian Dior. 126. In June 2024, Dior announced Theron will no longer be the face of J'adore and be replaced by Barbadian singer and businesswoman Rihanna. 127. In 2018, she appeared in a new advertisement for Dior J'adore. From October 2005 to December 2006, Theron earned $3 million for the use of her image in a worldwide print media advertising campaign for Raymond Weil watches. 128. In February 2006, she and her production company were sued by Weil for breach of contract. 128. 129. The lawsuit was settled on November 4, 2008. 130. In 2018, Theron joined Brad Pitt, Daniel Wu, and Adam Driver as brand ambassadors for Breitling, dubbed the Breitling Cinema Squad. 131. 132. Personal life. In 2007, Theron became a naturalized citizen of the United States. 133. While retaining her South African citizenship. 134. Theron adopted 2 children, a daughter in March 2012. 135 and another daughter in July 2015. 136. She has been interested in adoption since childhood, when she became aware of orphanages and the overflowing numbers of children in them. 23 In April 2019, Theron revealed that Jackson, then 7 years old, is a transgender girl. She said of her daughters, "They were born who they are, and exactly where in the world both of them get to find themselves as they grow up, and who they want to be, is not for me to decide." 137. Theron said in 2018 that she went to therapy in her 30s because of anger, discovering that it was due to her frustration growing up during South Africa's apartheid. 124-23, which ended when she was 15. 23. Theron is a longtime fan of the English band Depeche Mode and was the presenter for their Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction in 2020. 138. Relationships. Theron's first public relationship was with actor Craig Bierko, whom she dated from 1995 to 1997. 139-140. Theron was in a 3-year relationship with singer Stephen Jenkins until October 2001. Some of Third Eye Blind's third album, Out of the Vein, explores the emotions Jenkins experienced as a result of their breakup. 141-142. Theron was in a relationship with Irish actor Stuart Townsend from 2001 to 2009 after meeting him on the set of Trapped. The couple lived together in Los Angeles and Ireland. 143-144. In December 2013, Theron began dating American actor Sean Penn. 145. The relationship ended in June 2015. 146. There were reports they were engaged, which Theron strongly denied, adding that the relationship had ended before it ever became serious. 147. Theron starred in Penn's film The Last Face, 2016, which they filmed while still a couple. 148. In July 2025, Theron appeared on the podcast Call Her Daddy to candidly express her newly discovered love of casual sex, including having sex with a man 23 years her junior. 149. Health concerns. Theron often quips that she has more injuries on sets that are not action films. 150. However, while filming Ian Flux in Berlin, Theron suffered a herniated disc in her neck, caused by a fall while filming a series of back handsprings. It required her to wear a neck brace for a month. 151. Her thumb ligament tore during filming of The Old Guard when her thumb caught in another actor's jacket during a fight scene, which required 3 operations and 6 months in a thumb brace. 152. 153. 154. During the filming of Atomic Blonde, she broke teeth from clenching her jaw. 155. And had dental surgery to remove them. I had the removal and I had to put a donor bone in there to heal until I came back, and then I had another surgery to put a metal screw in there. 154. Outside of action films, she had a herniated disc in her lower back as she filmed Tully and suffered from a depression-like state, which she theorized was the result of the processed food she had to eat for her character's postnatal body. 156. In July 2009, she was diagnosed with a serious stomach virus, thought to be contracted while overseas. 157. 158. While filming The Road, Theron injured her vocal cords while screaming during the labor scenes. 159. When promoting Long Shot, she revealed that she laughed so hard at Borat that her neck locked for 5 days. 160. She added that on the set of Long Shot she ended up in the ER after knocking her head against a bench behind her when she was putting on knee pads. 160. Filmography and accolades. Main articles: Charlize Theron filmography and list of accolades received by Charlize Theron. Theron has appeared in over 50 films. She has received an Academy Award, a Golden Globe Award, a Screen Actors Guild Award, and nominations for 3 British Academy Film Awards and an Emmy Award. Jessica Michelle Chastain, born March 24, 1977, is an American actress and producer. Known for primarily starring in projects with feminist themes, she has received various accolades, including an Academy Award and a Golden Globe Award, in addition to nominations for a Primetime Emmy Award, 2 Tony Awards and 2 British Academy Film Awards. Time magazine named her one of the 100 most influential people in the world in 2012. Chastain developed an interest in acting from an early age and made her professional stage debut in 1998 as Shakespeare's Juliet. After studying acting at the Juilliard School, she worked on television and stage. After making her film debut at age 31 in the drama Jolene, 2008, Chastain had her breakthrough in 2011 with 6 film releases, including the dramas Take Shelter, 2011, and The Tree of Life, 2011. She received Academy Award nominations for playing an aspiring socialite in the period drama The Help, 2011, and a CIA analyst in the thriller Zero Dark 30, 2012. Greater commercial success came with the science fiction films Interstellar, 2014, and The Martian, 2015, and the horror film It Chapter 2, 2019. Chastain received further acclaim for playing strong-willed women in the dramas A Most Violent Year, 2014, Miss Sloane, 2016, and Molly's Game, 2017, and the television miniseries Scenes from a Marriage, 2021. She went on to portray Tammy Faye Bakker in the biopic The Eyes of Tammy Faye, 2021, winning the Academy Award for Best Actress, and Tammy Wynette in the miniseries George and Tammy, 2022. On Broadway, Chastain has starred in revivals of The Heiress, 2012, and A Doll's House, 2023. The latter earned her a nomination for the Tony Award for Best Actress in a Play. She is the founder of the production company Freckle Films, which was created to promote diversity in film, and is an investor in the soccer club Angel City FC. Chastain is vocal about mental health issues, as well as gender and racial equality. She is married to fashion executive Gianluca Passi di Preposolo, and they have 2 children. Early life and education. Jessica Michelle Chastain was born on March 24, 1977, in Sacramento, California 234 to Jerry Renee Hasty, née Chastain, and rock musician Michael Monasterio. 5'6". Her parents were both teenagers when she was born. Chastain is reluctant to publicly discuss her family background. She was estranged from Monasterio, who died in 2013, and has stated that no father is listed on her birth certificate. 5'6". Chastain has 2 sisters and 2 brothers. Her younger sister, Juliet, died by suicide in 2003 following years of drug addiction. 7. Chastain was raised in Sacramento by her mother and stepfather, Michael Hasty, a firefighter. 8. Her family struggled financially. 9. Chastain has said that her stepfather was the first person to make her feel secure. 6. She shares a close bond with her maternal grandmother, Marilyn, and credits her as someone who always believed in me. 8:10. A picture of the Alice Tully Hall building at the Juilliard School in New York City, taken from across the street. The Juilliard School in New York City, where Chastain studied acting. Chastain developed an interest in acting at age 7, after her grandmother took her to a production of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. 3. She would regularly put on amateur shows with other children, and considered herself to be their artistic director. 8. As a student at El Camino Fundamental High School in Sacramento, Chastain struggled academically. 5:11. She was a loner and considered herself a misfit in school, eventually finding an outlet in the performing arts. 12. She has described how she used to miss school to read Shakespeare 13, whose plays she became enamored with after attending the Oregon Shakespeare Festival with her classmates. 14. With too many absences during her senior year in school, Chastain did not qualify for graduation, but later obtained an adult diploma. 11. She later attended Sacramento City College from 1996 to 1997, during which she was a member of the institution's debate team. 15. Describing her early childhood, she recalled, "I grew up with a single mother who worked very hard to put food on our table. We did not have money. There were many nights when we had to go to sleep without eating. It was a very difficult upbringing. Things weren't easy for me growing up. 16. In 1998, Chastain finished her education at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts and made her professional stage debut as Juliet in a production of Romeo and Juliet staged by TheatreWorks, a company in the San Francisco Bay Area. 17. 18-19 The production led her to audition for the Juilliard School in New York City, where she was soon accepted and granted a scholarship funded by actor Robin Williams. 8-11 In her first year at the school, Chastain suffered from anxiety and was worried about being dropped from the program, spending most of her time reading and watching films. 8-19 She later remarked that her participation in a successful production of The Seagull during her second year helped build her confidence. 19 She graduated from the school with a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in 2003. 19 In 2025, Chastain announced she was enrolled in a mid-career Master of Public Administration program at the Harvard Kennedy School. 20. Career 2004 to 2010, early work. Shortly before graduating from Juilliard, Chastain attended an event for final-year students in Los Angeles, where she was signed to a talent-holding deal by the television producer John Wells. 21 She relocated to Los Angeles and started auditioning for jobs. 21 She initially found the process difficult, which she believed was due to other people finding her difficult to categorize as a redhead with an unconventional look. 22 In her television debut, the WB Network's 2004 pilot remake of the 1960s Gothic soap opera Dark Shadows, she was cast as Carolyn Stoddard. 23 The pilot was directed by P.J. Hogan, but the series was never picked up for broadcast. 23 Later that year, she appeared as a guest performer on the medical drama series ER playing a woman she described as psychotic, which led to her getting more unusual parts such as accident victims or characters with mental illness. 21-22 She went on to appear in such roles in a few other television series from 2004 to 2007, including Veronica Mars, 2004, Close to Home, 2006, Blackbeard, 2006, and Law and Order, Trial by Jury, 2005, 06. 24. A shot of Jessica Chastain as she looks away from the camera. Chastain at the 2010 Mill Valley Film Festival. In 2004, Chastain took on the role of Anya, a virtuous young woman, in a Williamstown Theater Festival production of Anton Chekhov's play The Cherry Orchard in Massachusetts, starring with Michelle Williams. 25 Also that year, she worked with Playwrights Horizons on a production of Richard Nelson's Rodney's Wife as the daughter of a troubled middle-aged film actor. Her performance was not well received by the critic Ben Brantley of the New York Times, who thought that she somehow seems to keep losing color as the evening progresses. 26 While working on the play, she was recommended by Nelson to Al Pacino, who was looking for an actress to star in his production of Oscar Wilde's tragedy Salome. 21 The play tells the tragic story of its titular character's sexual exploration. In the play, Salome is a 16-year-old, but Chastain, aged 29 then, was cast for the part. 27 The play was staged in 2006 at the Wadsworth Theater in Los Angeles, and Chastain later remarked that it helped bring her to the attention of several casting directors. 27-28 Writing for Variety, the critic Stephen Oxman criticized her portrayal in the play. Chastain is so ill at ease with Salome, not quite certain whether she's a capable seductress or a whiny, wealthy brat, she doesn't flesh out either choice. 28. Chastain made her film debut in 2008 as the titular character in Dan Ireland's drama Jolene, based on a short story by E.L. Doctorow inspired by Dolly Parton's song Jolene. 29 It follows the life of a sexually abused teenager over the course of a decade. Chastain's performance was praised by a reviewer for the New York Observer, who considered her as the only notable aspect of the production. 30-31 She won a Best Actress award at the Seattle International Film Festival. 32 In 2009, She had a minor role in Stolen, 2009, a mystery thriller film with a limited theatrical release. 33-34 Also in 2009, she played the part of Desdemona in the public theater production of Shakespeare's tragedy Othello, co-starring John Ortiz as the title character and Philip Seymour Hoffman as Iago. 35 Writing for The New Yorker, Hilton ALS commended Chastain for finding a beautiful maternal depth in her role. 36. In 2010, Chastain starred in John Madden's dramatic thriller The Dead, portraying a young Mossad agent sent to East Berlin in the 1960s to capture a former Nazi doctor who carried out medical experiments in concentration camps. 37 She shared her role with Helen Mirren, with the two actresses portraying the character at different phases of her life. 37 They worked together before filming to perfect the voice and mannerisms of the character and make them consistent. Chastain took classes in German and Krav Maga, and studied books about the Nazi Dr. Joseph Mengele and Mossad history. 37 William Thomas of Empire termed the film a smart, tense, well-acted thriller, and noted that Chastain pulses with strength and vulnerability in her part. 38 She also appeared as Mary Debenham in an episode of the British television series Agatha Christie's Poirot, based on Agatha Christie's 1934 novel Murder on the Orient Express. 39. 2011 to 2013, Breakthrough and Rise to Prominence. Jessica Chastain smiles for the camera. Chastain attending the premiere of Coriolanus at the 2011 Berlin International Film Festival. After struggling for a breakthrough in film, Chastain had 6 releases in 2011 and received wide recognition for several of them. 2140 The first of the roles was as the wife of Michael Shannon's character in Jeff Nichols' Take Shelter, a drama about a troubled father who tries to protect his family from what he believes is an impending storm. The film was screened at the 2011 Sundance Film Festival, and critic Tim Roby of the Daily Telegraph noted how much Chastain's supporting part aided the narrative. 41 In Coriolanus, an adaptation of the Shakespearean tragedy from actor-director Ralph Fiennes, she played Virgilia. 42 Her next role was opposite Brad Pitt, as the loving mother of 3 children in Terrence Malick's experimental drama The Tree of Life, which she had filmed in 2008. 43-44 Chastain signed onto the film without receiving a traditional screenplay from Malick, and she improvised several scenes and dialogues with Pitt. 45 She considered her part to be the embodiment of grace and the spirit world. In preparation, she practiced meditation, studied paintings of the Madonna, and read poems by Thomas Aquinas. 45 The film premiered at the 2011 Cannes Film Festival to a polarized reception from the audience, though it was praised by critics and won the Palme d'Or. 46 The critic Justin Chang termed the film a hymn to the glory of creation, an exploratory, often mystifying, poem, and credited Chastain for playing her part with ear-trending vulnerability. 47. Chastain's biggest success of the year came with the drama The Help, co-starring Viola Davis, Octavia Spencer, and Emma Stone, which was based on Catherine Stockett's novel of the same name. She played Celia Foote, an aspiring socialite in 1960s Jackson, Mississippi, who develops a friendship with her black maid, played by Spencer. Chastain was drawn to Foote's anti-racist stand, and connected with her energy and enthusiasm. In preparation, she watched the films of Marilyn Monroe and researched the history of Tunica, Mississippi, where her character was raised. 48 The Help grossed $216 million at the box office to become her most widely seen film to that point. 49-50 Manala Dargis of the New York Times praised the chemistry between Chastain and Spencer, and Roger Ebert credited her for being unaffected and infectious. 51 The ensemble of The Help won the Screen Actors Guild Award for Outstanding Cast, and Chastain received Academy, BAFTA, Golden Globe, and SAG Award nominations for Best Supporting Actress, all of which she lost to Spencer. 852-53. Chastain's final 2 roles of the year were in Wild Salome, a documentary based on her 2006 production of Salome 54, and the critically panned crime thriller Texas Killing Fields. 55 Her film roles in 2011, particularly in The Help, Take Shelter, and The Tree of Life, won her awards from several critics' organizations. 56 Two of Chastain's films in 2012 premiered at the 65th Cannes Film Festival: the animated comedy Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted, and the crime drama Lawless. 57 In the former, which marked the third installment in the Madagascar series, she voiced Gia the Jaguar with an Italian accent. 58 With global revenues of $747 million, the film ranks as her highest-grossing release. 59 50 In Lawless, based on Matt Bondurant's Prohibition-era novel The Wettest County in the World, she played a dancer who becomes embroiled in a conflict between three bootlegging brothers, played by Shia LaBeouf, Tom Hardy, and Jason Clarke. 60 The film received generally positive reviews, with Richard Corliss finding Chastain to be filled with poised, seductive gravity. 61 62 In an experimental biopic of the author C.K. Williams, entitled The Color of Time, 2012, directed by the New York University students of actor James Franco, she played the mother of the young Williams. 63 64 Jessica Chastain smiles while she gently looks away from the camera. Chastain at the 2012 Cannes Film Festival, where two of her films, Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted, and Lawless, were screened. A short part Chastain had filmed for Terrence Malick's To the Wonder, 2012, was edited out of the final film, and due to scheduling conflicts, she dropped out of the action films Oblivion and Iron Man 3, both 2013. 65 She instead made her Broadway debut in a revival of the 1947 play The Heiress, playing the role of Catherine Sloper, a naive young girl who transforms into a powerful woman. 66 Chastain was reluctant to take the role, fearing the anxiety she had faced during her early stage performances. 66 She ultimately agreed after finding a connection to Sloper, explaining, "She's painfully uncomfortable and I used to be that." 66 The production was staged at the Walter Kerr Theatre from November 2012 to February 2013. 67 Ben Brantley of the New York Times was disappointed in Chastain's performance, writing that she was over-signaling the thoughts within and that her delivery of dialogue was sometimes flat. 67 The Heiress emerged as a sleeper hit at the box office. 68 Catherine Bigelow's thriller Zero Dark 30 was Chastain's final film release of 2012. It is a partly fictionalized account of the nearly decade-long manhunt for Al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden after the September 11 attacks in 2001. She played Maya Harris, a CIA intelligence analyst who helps kill bin Laden. Chastain was unable to meet the intelligence analyst on whom her character was based, so she relied on the research done by the film's screenwriter Mark Boal. 69 The difficult subject matter made it unpleasant for her to film. She suffered from depression during production, and once walked off the set in tears because she was unable to continue. 69 Zero Dark 30 was critically acclaimed, albeit controversial for its scenes of torture that were shown providing useful intelligence in the search for bin Laden. 70-71 Roger Ebert took note of Chastain's versatility, and likened her ability and range to that of Meryl Streep. 72 Peter Traverse of Rolling Stone wrote, "Chastain is a marvel. She plays Maya like a gathering storm in an indelible, implosive performance that cuts so deep we can feel her nerve endings." 73 She won the Golden Globe Award for Best Actress in a Drama and received Academy, BAFTA, and SAG nominations for Best Actress. 874 Chastain took on the lead role of a musician who is forced to care for her boyfriend's troubled nieces in the horror film Mama, 2013, directed by Andy Muschietti. She was drawn to the idea of playing a woman drastically different from the perfect mother roles she had previously played, and she based her character's look on the singer Alice Glass. 23 The critic Richard Roper considered her performance to be proof of her being one of the finest actors of her generation. 75 During the film's opening weekend in North America, Chastain became the first performer in 15 years to have leading roles in the top two films, Mama and Zero Dark 30, At the box office. 76 She then starred as the titular character of a depressed woman who separates from her husband, played by James McAvoy, following a tragic incident in the drama The Disappearance of Eleanor Rigby, 2013, which she also produced. 77 The writer-director Ned Benson initially wrote the story from the perspective of Rigby's husband, then wrote a separate version from Rigby's perspective at the insistence of Chastain. 78 Three versions of the film Him, Her, and Them were released. 78-79 It did not find a wide audience 80 but the critic A.O. Scott praised Chastain for short-circuiting conventional distinctions between tough and vulnerable, showing exquisite control even when her character is losing it, and keeping her balance even when the movie pitches and rolls toward melodrama. 81. 2014 to 2020, Career Fluctuations and Expansion. A shot of Jessica Chastain smiling away from the camera. Chastain attending the premiere of Miss Julie at the 2014 Toronto International Film Festival. Chastain appeared in 3 films in 2014. She played the titular character in Miss Julie, a film adaptation of August Strindberg's 1888 play of the same name, from director Liv Ullmann. 82 It tells the tragic tale of a sexually repressed Anglo-Irish aristocrat who wishes to sleep with her father's valet, Colin Farrell. 83 She was drawn to Ullmann's feminist take on the subject. 84 The film only received a limited theatrical release. 85 While filming Miss Julie in Ireland, she received the script for Christopher Nolan's science fiction film Interstellar, 2014. 86 With a budget of $165 million, the high-profile production, co-starring Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway, was filmed mostly using IMAX cameras. 87-88 Chastain played the adult daughter of McConaughey's character. She was drawn to the project for the emotional heft she found in the father-daughter pair. 89 Drew McWeeny of HitFix took note of how much Chastain had stood out in her supporting role. 90 Interstellar grossed over $701 million worldwide to rank as her highest-grossing live-action film to date. 50-87 In her final release of 2014, Chastain starred in the J.C. Chandler-directed crime drama A Most Violent Year. Set in New York City in 1981, the year in which the city had the highest crime rate, the film tells the story of a heating oil company owner, Oscar Isaac, and his ruthless wife, Chastain. 91 In preparation, she researched the period and worked with a dialect coach to speak in a Brooklyn accent. 92 She collaborated with the film's costume designer to work on her character's wardrobe, and contacted Armani, which provided her with clothing of the period. 92 Mark Kermode of The Observer found Chastain to be terrific in a part inspired by Lady Macbeth's character, and Nicholas Al of the San Francisco Chronicle described her portrayal as the embodiment of a nouveau riche New York woman of the era. 93-94 She received a Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actress nomination for it. 95 For her work in 2014, the Broadcast Film Critics Association honored Chastain with a Special Achievement Award. 96 In 2015, Chastain took on the part of a commander in Ridley Scott's science fiction film The Martian. Starring Matt Damon as a botanist who is stranded on Mars by a team of astronauts commanded by Chastain's character, the film is based on Andy Weir's novel of the same name. Chastain met with astronauts at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory and the Johnson Space Center, and modeled her role on Tracy Caldwell Dyson, with whom she spent time in Houston. 97 The Martian became her second film to gross over $600 million in 2 consecutive years. 50-98 Chastain next starred as a woman who plots with her brother, Tom Hiddleston, to terrorize his new bride, Mia Wasikowska, in Guillermo del Toro's gothic romance Crimson Peak. She approached the villainous part with empathy, and in preparation read Graveyard Poetry and watched the films Rebecca, 1940, and Whatever Happened to Baby Jane? 1962. 97 Del Toro cast Chastain to lend accessibility to a part he considered psychopathic, but Peter DeBrugge of Variety found her alarmingly miscast and criticized her for failing to effectively convey her character's insecurity and ruthlessness. 97-99 Conversely, David Sims of Slate praised her for portraying her character's jealous intensity to the hilt. 100. After playing a series of intense roles, Chastain actively looked for a light-hearted part. 101 She found it in the ensemble fantasy film The Huntsman, Winter's War, 2016, which served as both a sequel and a prequel to the 2012 film Snow White and the Huntsman. She was drawn to the idea of playing a warrior whose abilities were on par with those of the male lead, but the film flopped both critically and commercially. 101-102 Chastain next starred as the titular character, a lobbyist, in the political thriller Miss Sloane, which reunited her with John Madden. 101-103 She read the novel Capital Punishment by disgraced former lobbyist Jack Abramoff to research the practice of lobbying in America, and met with female lobbyists to study their mannerisms and sense of style. 104 Hailing her as one of the best actresses on the planet, Peter Travers commended Chastain for successfully drawing the audience into Sloane's life, and Justin Chang termed her performance a tour de force of rhetorical precision and tightly coiled emotional intensity. 105-106 She received a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actress in a Drama. 107 Also in 2016, Chastain launched the production company Freckle Films, headed by a team of female executives. 101-108 Chastain at the 2016 Cannes Film Festival. Chastain began 2017 by serving as the executive producer and providing the narration for I Am Jane Doe, a documentary on sex trafficking. 109 In an effort to work with more female filmmakers, Chastain starred in 2 projects directed by women: Nikki Caro's The Zookeeper's Wife and Susanna White's Woman Walks Ahead. 110 In the former, an adaptation of Diane Ackerman's non-fiction book of the same name, she co-starred with Johan Heldenberg as the real-life Polish zookeepers Jan and Antonina Zabinski, who saved many human and animal lives during World War II. 108-111 The film received mixed reviews, but Stephen Holden took note of how Chastain's watchful, layered performance empowered the film. 112-113 Woman Walks Ahead tells the story of the 19th century activist Catherine Weldon, who served as an advisor to the Sioux chieftain Sitting Bull prior to the Wounded Knee Massacre. She was interested in portraying a role that young girls could look up to for inspiration, and provided off-screen inputs to avoid a white savior narrative. 114. Chastain portrayed Molly Bloom, a former skier who ran a high-profile gambling operation that led to her arrest by the FBI, in Aaron Sorkin's directorial debut, Molly's Game, 2017. She took the part due to her desire to work with Sorkin, whose writing she admired. 115 Instead of relying on Bloom's public persona, she met Bloom personally to explore her character's flaws and vulnerabilities. She also researched the world of underground poker and interviewed some of Bloom's customers. 115 Peter DeBrugge hailed her role as one of the screen's great female parts, and credited its success to both Sorkin's script and Chastain's stratospheric talent. 116. She received her 5th Golden Globe nomination for it. 117 In 2018, she hosted an episode of the television sketch comedy show Saturday Night Live and voiced the virtual reality production Spheres, Songs of Space-Time. 118-119 She had filmed a part in Xavier Dolan's ensemble drama The Death and Life of John F. Donovan, but her scenes were deleted from the final cut as Dolan found her role incompatible to the story. 120. In the superhero film Dark Phoenix, 2019, which marked the 12th installment in the X-Men series, Chastain took on the role of an evil alien due to its focus on female characters. 121 Peter Bradshaw of The Guardian considered it to be a waste of her talents, and the film registered poor box office returns. 122-123 She reteamed with Andy Muschietti in It Chapter 2, the sequel to his 2017 horror film It, based on Stephen King's novel. She played the adult Beverly Marsh, a woman in an abusive marriage, sharing the role with Sophia Lillis. Filming proved challenging for Chastain, as Muschietti preferred the usage of practical effects to computer-generated imagery. One particular scene required her to be covered in 4,500 US gallons, 17,000 liters, of fake blood. 124-125 The film received favorable reviews, with Charlotte O'Sullivan of the Evening Standard finding Chastain to be suitably sad and sepulchral in her role. 126-127 It grossed over $470 million worldwide. 128. Under Freckle Films, Chastain produced and starred in the action film Ava, 2020, written and initially set to be directed by Matthew Newton, who has been accused of domestic violence. Following backlash against her for agreeing to work with him, Newton was replaced with Tate Taylor. 129-130 Boyd Van Hoge of The Hollywood Reporter bemoaned that Chastain's talents as an action star had been wasted in an underwhelming film. 131 Released theatrically during the COVID-19 pandemic, it performed poorly at the box office but gained success on video on demand. 132. 2021, Present, Award Success and Television. Andrew Garfield and Chastain starred as the televangelists Jim and Tammy Faye Bakker in the biopic The Eyes of Tammy Faye, 2021. She acquired the rights to Faye's life in 2012, and produced the film under her company Freckle Films. 133 To look like Bakker, Chastain wore prosthetic makeup which took 4 to 7 hours to apply. 134 The role also required her to sing, which she has said made her nervous. 135 She worked with the music producer Dave Cobb to record 7 songs for the film's soundtrack. 133 David Fear of Rolling Stone found Chastain to be the only reason to see this curiously tepid biopic and praised her for rising above the script to humanize Bakker. 136 Kevin Marr of The Times considered it to be a riveting, unleashed, and award-worthy performance and compared it to Joaquin Phoenix's performance in Joker, 2019. 137 She won the Academy Award for Best Actress, Critics' Choice Award and SAG Award, in addition to a Golden Globe nomination. 138-139. Chastain at the 75th Tony Awards in 2022. Also in 2021, Chastain agreed to Scenes from a Marriage, a gender-switched remake of Ingmar Bergman's 1973 Swedish miniseries of the same name for HBO, for its subversion of stereotypical portrayal of women. 140-141 Lucy Mangan of The Guardian took note of the chemistry between Chastain and her co-star Oscar Isaac, as did Carol Midgley of The Times, who praised them for delivering crackling, wounding dialogue faultlessly. 142-143 She received a nomination for the Golden Globe Award for Best Actress in a Miniseries, her second nomination at that year's ceremony. 139 She also redeemed with Ralph Fiennes in The Forgiven, an adaptation of the novel of the same name by Lawrence Usborne. 145-146. For the 355, 2022, a female-led spy film, Chastain and her team of female co-stars pitched the idea to prospective buyers at the 2018 Cannes Film Festival, where it was picked up by Universal Pictures. 147 Critics dismissed the film as generic and unremarkable, and it failed commercially. 148-149 Chastain then took on a brief role as Marianne Trump in James Gray's period film Armageddon Time. 150 In The Good Nurse, she played night nurse Amy Luffren, who discovers that her co-worker Charles Cullen, played by Eddie Redmayne, is a serial killer. 151 She worked closely with Luffren and attended nursing school to prepare for the part. 152 Kate Erbland of IndieWire found hers to be an effective performance in A Very Quiet Package. 153. Chastain executive produced the Showtime biographical miniseries George and Tammy, in which she played the country singer Tammy Wynette opposite Michael Shannon's George Jones. 155 In preparation, Chastain and Shannon trained with a vocal coach to sing several of their characters' songs. She also lost weight to play Wynette toward the end of her life. 156 Emma Fraser of the playlist was appreciative of the chemistry between the actors, and took note of the fragility and toughness in Chastain's portrayal. 157 She won a SAG Award, received another Golden Globe nomination, and earned her first nomination for a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Limited Series. 158 159 160 Chastain returned to Broadway theater, playing Nora Helmer, an unhappy housewife, in Jamie Lloyd's 2023 revival of Henrik Ibsen's play A Doll's House, which ran for 16 weeks at the Hudson Theatre. 161 Initially set for West End Theatre in 2020, the production was cancelled due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and later relocated to New York on Chastain's insistence. 162 163 The production was extended 1 week due to the strong box office sales of the preview performances. 164 Gloria Oladipo of The Guardian deemed Chastain's performance enthralling and captivating, adding that a fuller, infinite portrait is painted of the longtime heroine through Chastain's work. 165 She won the Drama Desk Award for Outstanding Lead Performance in a Play and received a nomination for the Tony Award for Best Actress in a Play. 166 167 Chastain played a recovering alcoholic in Michel Franco's independent drama film Memory, co-starring Peter Sarsgaard. 168 She was pleased to take on the low-profile project and shopped at Target herself for her character's clothes. 169 De Brugge noted that Chastain's never appeared more vulnerable on screen playing a morally divisive character. 170 Chastain and Hathaway reunited in Mother's Instinct, 2024, a remake of the Belgian psychological thriller of the same name, which Chastain also produced. 171 As a close friend of Hathaway, she found it challenging to play a character that's antagonistic towards Hathaway's. 172 She reteamed with Michel Franco in Dreams, a drama about a rich American woman's relationship with an undocumented Mexican immigrant, which premiered at the 2025 Berlinale. Chastain said that she had to distance herself from her personal politics to play the part. 173 IndieWire's Ryan Lattanzio was appreciative of her playing an against-type, largely unsympathetic role. 174 Chastain will next executive produce and star in the Apple TV Plus miniseries The Savant, based on the true story of an investigator who infiltrates online hate groups. 175 She will also reunite with Pacino in Lear Rex, an adaptation of Shakespeare's King Lear, playing Goneril. 176 She will also star in the upcoming supernatural horror film Other Mommy directed by Rob Savage, based on the 2024 novel Incidents Around the House by Josh Malerman. 177 Advocacy. Chastain at the 2017 Cannes Film Festival, where she served as a jury member. Chastain identifies as a feminist, and has often spoken out against the discrimination faced by women and minorities in Hollywood. 178 179 180 She penned an essay on gender imbalance in the industry for a December 2015 issue of The Hollywood Reporter. 181 At the 2017 Cannes Film Festival, where she served as a jury member, Chastain bemoaned the passive portrayal of women in most films. 182 183 She has complained about a lack of female film critics, which she believes hinders a gender-neutral perspective on film. 183 She advocates for greater gender balance on sets, including more representation of women on film crews and in positions of power. 184 On social media, Chastain aims to amplify the voices of victims of sexual harassment in the industry. 185 in 2018, she collaborated with 300 women in Hollywood to set up the Time's Up initiative to protect women from harassment and discrimination. 186 in the same year, she appeared alongside several actresses in This Changes Everything, a documentary about the poor representation of women in Hollywood films. 187 She is also a LGBT rights activist. Most notably, when she had won the Academy Award for Best Actress in 2022, she voiced her support for the community she loved, and called out bigoted legislation against them. 188 189 190 Chastain is a vocal advocate for equal pay in the workplace, and turns down offers of work whose salaries she finds unfair. 191 She spoke out in support of actress Michelle Williams, who was paid less than her co-star Mark Wahlberg for the 2017 film All the Money in the World, a gesture which Williams said led to greater awareness of the issue and a donation worth $2 million to the Time's Up Legal Defense Fund. 192 In 2013, Chastain lent her support to the Got Your Six campaign, to help empower veterans of the United States Army, and in 2016, she became an advisory board member to the organization We Do It Together, which produces films and television shows to promote women empowerment. 193 194 In 2017, she featured alongside several Hollywood celebrities in a theatrical production of the children's monologues, in which she performed a monologue as a 13-year-old girl who was raped by her uncle. The event raised funds for Dramatic Need, a charity that helps African children pursue a career in the arts. 195 In 2020, Chastain became an investor in a Los Angeles-based franchise for the National Women's Soccer League. 196 The new team has since been named Angel City FC. 197 Chastain supports charitable organizations that promote mental health, and is involved with the non-profit organization To Write Love on Her Arms. 198 Teased as a child for having red hair and freckles, she takes a stand against body shaming and bullying. 12 Chastain has campaigned for access to affordable reproductive health care for women, and in 2017, Variety honored her for her work with Planned Parenthood. 199 In response to abortion bans in certain American states, she joined several actors in refusing to work in those regions. 200 In 2022, Chastain traveled to Kiev in Ukraine during Russia's invasion of the country. She visited a children's hospital and met with President Volodymyr Zelensky and head of the presidential administration Andriy Yermak. 201 202 Chastain has lent her support to the 2023 SAG-AFTRA strike. After receiving an interim agreement waiver from the organization, she attended the premiere of her film Memory at the 2023 Venice International Film Festival wearing a t-shirt affirming her support. 203 Reception and acting style. Describing Chastain's off-screen persona, Roy Porter of InStyle magazine wrote in 2015 that she's an adult, which isn't always a given in Hollywood. Unconsciously candid with her answers, she retains a sense of perspective uncommon among her peers, and has real opinions. Porter also credited her for being the rare actress who is all about the craft. 44 Evgenia Peretz, an editor at Vanity Fair, finds Chastain the most sensitive and empathetic actor she has interviewed. 204 Chastain specializes in portraying emotionally grueling roles and is drawn to parts of strong but flawed women. 12 205 206 The journalist Sanjeev Bhattacharya has identified a theme of characters who subvert gender expectations in some way. 191 David Ehrlich of IndieWire credits her for being the sole American actress to consistently play roles that champion feminist ideals. 207 She believes in extensive preparations for a role. I fill myself up with as much history of the character as I can. 208 The film critics Roger Ebert and Richard Roeper have praised Chastain's versatility. 7275 and W Magazine credits her for avoiding typecasting. 10 Chastain at the 2015 Empire Awards. Guillermo del Toro, who directed Chastain in Crimson Peak, believes that she is interested in being chameleonic, and that she brings authenticity even to bizarre situations. 209 Sophie Hewood of The Guardian believes that Chastain's ability to bring very little ego to her roles renders her unrecognizable to the audience. 8 Sarah Carmely of Harper's Bazaar opines that she goes for total immersion, sinking so deep into character that her face seems to change shape with each one. 206 Lee Goldman of Marie Claire has compared her craft to that of Meryl Streep and Cate Blanchett, and writes that she values her craft over her looks. 13 Michelle Franco, who directed her in Memory, called Chastain the best actress in the world. 210 Describing her film career in 2017, Ben Dickinson of Elle wrote, "With her often haunted-looking eyes, pale complexion, and gorgeous red mane, she can project everything from Icy Hauteur, The Martian, Miss Sloane, to Loving Warmth, The Tree of Life, The Zookeeper's Wife, or an unstable equilibrium and high intelligence in between, Zero Dark 30 and A Most Violent Year." 211. The journalist Tom Schoen describes Chastain as being excessively luscious with pale Botticelli features wrapped around a bone structure that has a touch of the masculine, right down to the cleft in her chin. 212. She was named the sexiest vegetarian actress in a poll conducted by PETA in 2012. 213 From 2012 to 2014, she was featured in Ask Men's listing of the most desirable women 214, and in 2015, Glamour magazine ranked her as one of the best dressed women. 215. Time magazine named Chastain one of the 100 most influential people in the world in 2012. 216 That same year, she was invited to join the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, and she endorsed an Yves Saint Laurent fragrance called Manifesto. 217 218 In 2015, she became the global ambassador for the Swiss jewelry and watchmaking company Piaget, and in 2017, she was made the face of Ralph Lauren's fragrance campaign, named Woman. 219 224 The latter, she led an initiative called Lead Like a Woman, and featured in a short film named Leading with Intensity, 2019, made by an all-female cast and crew. 221 In 2024, she became the global ambassador for Damiani, an Italian luxury jewelry corporate group that designs, manufactures, distributes and sells jewelry and luxury watches. 222. Personal life. Despite significant media attention, Chastain remains guarded about her personal life, and chooses not to attend red carpet events with a partner. 223 205 She considers herself to be a shy person, and in 2011 expressed a preference for domestic routines like dog walking and playing ukulele over partying. 224 Chastain has cited the actress Isabelle Huppert as an influence, for managing a family, while also playing out their roles on screen. 225. She is an animal lover, and has adopted a rescue dog. 205 Raised by a vegan chef mother. 226 Chastain was a pescatarian for much of her life before health troubles prompted her to begin practicing veganism. 205 She is an investor in Beyond Meat, a meat substitutes company. 227. In the 2000s, Chastain was in a long-term relationship with writer-director Ned Benson that ended in 2010. 228 In 2012, she began dating Gianluca Passi di Preposolo, an Italian count of the Passi di Preposolo noble family, who is an executive for the fashion brand Moncler. 205 On June 10, 2017, Chastain married Preposolo at his family's estate in Carbonara, Italy. 229 In 2018, the couple had a daughter through surrogacy. 230